All right, welcome to WP Radio. I just wanted to let everybody know this is a recorded segment from WP Radio Live at the OIAA Claims Conference in January 2019. I hope you enjoy all the different little elevator pitches from all the companies. So sit back, relax, and enjoy it, and we'll see you soon. All right, it's Tara Doherty. We're live at WP Radio here, and we're live at the Metro Convention Center during the Claims Conference. And I have Yvonne Hurd from Envista.
Hi.
Hey, Yvonne. Thank you very much, first of all, for being on the podcast.
Well, thanks.
And tell me about Envista. What do you guys do?
So Envista is a fantastic forensic engineering firm that operates globally.
It's a what engineering?
Forensic.
Forensic. I thought you said fantastic.
It is a fantastic.
Well, that's what I thought you
engineering
said. I
firm.
thought you said it's a fantastic engineering firm. I'm like, okay. So it's a forensic engineering firm.
And it's global.
So it's worldwide.
It is.
Okay. So when you say global, do you mean like Canada, the U.S., and one country? Or tell me about how global are you?
So we are in Canada, the U.S., and Mexico.
Yeah.
We're also in the U.K.
Wow.
Singapore.
Yeah.
New Zealand. Australia. We're in Denmark.
So
The Netherlands.
You truly are global.
We truly are global.
Wow. And when you say forensic engineering, what disciplines?
We have all disciplines. We cover all disciplines. Specifically to Canada, we do civil structural, mechanical electrical. We have also a scheduling and delay claims group that also does lost productivity on the construction side.
Okay.
We do operate through 3 different offices in Canada. One is Toronto, Calgary, and Vancouver, and we're growing. The unique thing about the disciplines that we offer is in all of our disciplines, it's sort of twofold. So we do the forensics, looking for the origin of a loss to determine causation of that loss, a very scientific approach.
Yeah.
But then we also have the loss consulting side. So we will do loss consulting for equipment. We'll do loss consulting for, so it's post-loss and post-forensics. And it streams further into the remediation piece. And so essentially, we become the go-to from a claim side all the way through to remediation.
Take me through that. Like, how do you do that?
So
Let's talk about a piece of equipment. So I've got a stone slinger that gets damaged. Take me through that.
So for a piece of equipment, you want to find out why the failure happened. And so you can say the failure happened because of a flood or a fire, but it could also potentially be errors in emission, where it's a design or a maintenance issue.
Okay.
Regardless of the cause of loss, we go in and determine that cause of loss and look for potential subrogation opportunities for the insurer to recover their money. But also then we go through and determine what's the best way to indemnify that client. Is it through a replacement of that piece of equipment, or is that piece of equipment so specialized and unique that you have to repair it? So what we do is take a look also into the business interruption side and more loosely where we can determine the fastest, most efficient course of action.
So if it's going to be cheaper just to go out and buy the piece of equipment as opposed to waiting on parts that are going to be 6 months and keep it down, and then you've got that loss of business.
That's right. And the nice thing about what we do is we hire engineers that come from the design side. So it's twofold. One, if they've built it, they know how to take it apart and find causation. The other part is that they still have their relationships in their industry. So for example, we've taken guys from Hydro One or a hydro company across Canada. Some have been in Vancouver, some in Toronto, and they have those relationships. So when a transformer goes, a transformer might take 6 months to send in a brand new one. Whereas we have contacts to say, is there something available in a faster turnaround time, and can get something in more like 6 weeks.
So when you talk about stuff like that, as far as like a transformer where it has to be rewound or you need new oils for it, or there's those burnt conductors, it's those kind of things you really look at the nuts and bolts of that?
We do like switch gears, that sort of thing we can absolutely do. It's funny, I was just in with Dwight Francis, who runs our electrical group, and from a power supply standpoint, we have engineers that understand the transformers and the substations, but then we also have engineers that look at the usage of that power, the end user of that power. And so we can go, I mean, we don't, not necessarily at the plant station where they're creating this power, more so at the substation level, and then at the building level.
Are you able to source the ability to go in and put stuff in a temporary measure, so to get them back online and assist with that?
In terms of rentals, absolutely, yeah. So we've got resources for that as well. Mm-hmm.
So what else? So we've got that. What else do you guys do? Let's talk about structural and building envelopes and stuff like that. So do you have people that work on that side as well?
We do. We have civil structural engineers that look at both the rebuild, heritage buildings as well. So our specialists on the civil structural side will look at, they're very, very good at dealing with cities to get permits, which is a big issue for rebuilds. But we're also very knowledgeable at what the best course of action is from a total tear down to remediating the structure and its existence and bringing it back as opposed to doing a total rebuild. It's very complicated when you get into heritage buildings and bylaw codes to be able to really understand what's available from an indemnification standpoint, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do. And when you talk about heritage buildings, you're talking about then having some seriously stringent kind of boundaries put on you with regards to how you can actually do the remediation or what you can do to bring it back.
It can be. And so the unique thing about Envista Forensics is that, yes, we have all these disciplines. Yes, we have specialists that really hone in on what their exact capabilities are, whether that be locating city permits and really understanding heritage buildings. But what we do is we approach it from a practice leadership standpoint. So we will approach a loss, for example, if it's a fire loss, we understand that the building may be lacking integrity and you need a civil structural engineer to validate that building in order for responders to go in, whether that be the adjusting staff, whether that be the engineering staff, and we become a one point of contact. We become, with the capabilities of actually, they're taking pictures of us.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's for the magazine.
We have the capabilities to look at it from a project standpoint. So really project managing that loss and bringing in under the direction of the adjuster and under the direction of the insurer, ensuring that budgets are in place and all of that is the protocol and KPIs are all followed. We really go at it from a project management standpoint. So take, for example, a hospital and looking at all the components of the hospital. So hospital suffers damage or hospital has a fire or a flood loss, and there needs to be civil structural, there needs to be electrical, mechanical, there needs to be loss consultants, and a lot of the equipment, the medical equipment is damaged. It takes a lot of different disciplines, and what we do is we come in from a project management standpoint to assist the entire workflow for the engineering staff to reduce the amount of time it takes to remediate that loss. It reduces the amount of time the adjuster is handling that file. It just cleans up the whole process. And in that, what we provide is one document that includes all of the reports and one invoice. It really cleans up the whole entire process.
And do you actually bring it all under the one envelope as well? So as far as the remediation point, so you're going to have to stay involved because there's structural issues and those kind of things. Do you work with the contractor ensuring that those subs are coming in at the right times so there's not delays and that kind of stuff as well?
That's exactly it. From an engineering standpoint, we manage the whole engineering piece of it. Not necessarily the contractor, because that still maintains under the direction of the adjuster, but we can manage the entire engineering piece.
Yeah, but I mean as far as the different aspects,
yes,
the high-level stuff with regards to the engineering side of it.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. And with your 3 locations, how many engineers do you have?
Across Canada, we're about 40. We have 23 and climbing in Toronto. We have 13 or 14 in Calgary, and we have 5 in Vancouver. The other thing that we have access to is what we call the Expert Alliance. We have 500 globally of contractual engineers that we can draw on that do really, really weird things. Like we have a wig expert. We have an expert in sand. So for example, we had a loss where cell phones left the port in Asia, arrived to the port in the United States, and when the receiver opened the boxes, there was equal amounts of volume of sand in each of the boxes instead of cell phones. So we called in an expert that not only could tell us what side of the country that sand was from, but what exact beach in Florida that sand was from. So we could then determine where the loss actually happened.
That's incredible. So that's really unique. Tell me some other unique stuff, because that's pretty cool.
We had
You said a wig.
We had an issue with actors having scalp burns because they were wearing these wigs.
Oh, wow.
We had to call in a wig expert to determine what was in the material of those wigs to determine why there was scalp burns.
Wow.
We had a heat transfer expert. There was a loss where a lady had fallen asleep on a bus. It was a 9-hour bus ride, and she had a burn on her chest because she had kept her cell phone close to her chest. We had an engineer who wore the exact same outfit, a male engineer that wore the exact same outfit as this passenger on the bus. They had the exact same direction. They took the exact same bus, made the same movements as this woman to determine whether or not it was possible that the cell phone could actually burn her skin.
Wow. You can't tell me the outcome, can you?
What's that?
Was it caused?
No, it wasn't caused. It could, no.
So it just didn't happen.
I mean, unless it was an anomaly on that cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
we've got cyber investigation, both from a from a civil standpoint. So we can do criminal cases where we investigate criminal activity, and we also do cyber from a malware, spyware, ransomware standpoint.
So computer technology, those
That's
kind of
right,
things.
data.
Wow.
We work with breach coaches.
Wow, that's interesting. So how do people get in touch with you? How do they find out more about you?
Well, our website, www.envistaforensics.com. We also have an intake email called projects@envistaforensics.com. Or myself is easy enough. It's yvonne.herd@envistaforensics.com.
And why would they reach out to you, Yvonne? What do you do there?
I'm in a sales role there. So I run sales for Canada, work
Yeah.
very closely with the United States, and really provide a one point of contact for information or access to our engineers.
That's great. Well, thank you very much for being on the podcast. I've really enjoyed finding out more about Envista, and I hope you have a great day today at the conference.
Thanks, Terry. You too.
Thanks. Thank you very much for listening to WP Radio Live. We appreciate your time and listening to the podcast, and check back in a few days as we'll have another one coming out.